Hey guys, today I am filming my November favorites and product updates for 2018. I don't have too many favorites, so this should hopefully be a shorter video, but starting with my favorite products, the first item is the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil, and I have the shade number 2. I purchased this in a Benefit brow set. This is Benefit's version of a micro brow pencil, similar to the Anastacio Brow Wiz, the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. So the way that I have been using this is to line my brows, draw on the front, and then I'm filling in the middle of the brow with the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil, which is their thicker angled brow pencil. I think the combination is amazing. So for this pencil, more on the creamy side than the waxy side. It is very pigmented, and I don't have to put a lot of pressure on to my skin, but I do think this is a really nice shade match for me. I do like the formula of this pencil. I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to repurchase this. The only reason I purchased it in the first place is because I got it on an amazing deal. I do love my NYX Micro Brow just as much, and I have several backups of that, so I'm excited that I'm able to try this out. I hope it lasts me a while, but it's something I really do enjoy, especially in combination with the thicker brow pencil, and that's what makes it last longer too. My other two favorites for this month would be the two palettes that I reviewed. The first one is the Too Faced Just Peachy Matte palette. I'll have that video linked up in the cards. So in this palette you get 12 all matte eyeshadows. I think that they all perform really well. Some of my favorites in the palette would be this shade right here for a transition color, this one for crease, this for outer corner. I like this shade as well. That's a nice transition color. So those warm peachy tones, of course, those are the shades that I loved the most, but I think that they paired really well together, and I did create an eye look with some of those, and then I used a shimmer on my lid so I could test this palette both as a standalone as well as a companion palette. So I used that palette with ColourPop Super Shock Shadow and Kathleen lights on my lid. This is such an amazing coppery gold combination. It is so metallic and beautiful. I absolutely love the shade. It's a pearlized finish, which is my favorite, and I would definitely recommend this color in general, but it really popped when I put it with the other shades in this palette. So check out my review for more information and to see the other looks that I created. But the shades in this palette are very pigmented and they blend out really nicely because I have so many ColourPop Super Shocks and other single shadows that are warm tone that I like to put on the lid for a shimmer. It is great having this as a companion palette. For me, this palette does serve a purpose in my collection. I know it's a bit limited in the fact that it's just really like warm peachy tone mattes. It doesn't have cool, neutral, and warm mattes in here, but because I tend to go with warm tone looks most of the time, I will get some really good use out of this palette. And then the other palette that I tested out this month is the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette. My review is going to be coming up next. Once that video goes live, I will add a little card here, and let's talk about the packaging. So stunning. I was a little nervous about this palette. I've had it for a year and haven't really given it much love, and I have tried some other Huda Beauty shadows where I wasn't in love with them because I felt like the mattes really had to be built up, but I did not have the same experience with this palette. So what is really cool about this palette is that you have 4 different finishes. You have mattes, pearl, duochromes, and a glitter. I used almost every single shade in this palette, but I was definitely able to test it out and get a good feel for the palette overall. The shades are all really pigmented. I love the pearls because they do have that really gorgeous sheen to the eye, but they aren't metallic or glittery, and the mattes were really easy to work with as well. Super powdery, but they apply and blend nicely. So my favorite shades in this palette as well. Of course, I love all of the matte warm shades, but this color right here, which is called Eden, that is such a cool, bright peachy sherbet transition color. I used it with a ton of my looks, and I can see myself reaching for this palette just to use that shade, even though that is something that you would think I have a million times over in my collection, or that I would even have in that Too Faced palette. Something about the tone of that is different, and I really love it. I actually really like this taupey color for a lid shade, Celestial, as well. There's not that many cool tones in here, but I really like that taupey shade. I love this shimmer. The palette is just really great quality. So I think that this has like A+ quality. There is a good bit of fallout with both the mattes and the shimmers and a lot of kick up, but I do not mind because it creates a really beautiful look. So this is something that I'm super happy I have in my collection. This is a permanent product. Highly, highly recommend it. So those were actually all of my beauty favorites. Not a ton this month. And now I'm going to go over all of the things in my product updates. So these were all featured in my full Face of First Impression video. I'll have that linked in the cards as well. So the first thing I tested was the Fenty Beauty Primer, and this is more of like a mattifying primer. It does have a little bit of thickness to it. It blends onto the skin very easily, but then it becomes a little bit more thick and tacky. But because it blends easily, I really like that consistency and the formula because it's easy to apply. I do think that this did help keep me a little bit more matte, but it didn't make me look dry or flaky or make my makeup look patchy. So I did enjoy this. I don't know if it's the most mattifying primer out there. I, as you guys know, haven't really found a mattifying primer that I love. The consistency of, the way it makes my makeup look, and the fact it keeps me matte. Usually I can't get all three of those things, but I really do enjoy this one. I'll be excited to use up the sample, and who knows in the future. I know this was a 100-point perk a little while ago, and I wish I had taken advantage of that, but I didn't. So this is a good product, but it's not a miracle worker when it comes to oily skin. The next thing I had tested out was the IT Cosmetics Matte CC Cream in the shade Fair. I told you guys in my video that I wanted to test this out against the Too Faced Peach Perfect Foundation, and I did that 2 days in a row. And one day I used my basic silicone primer, and then I use mattifying powders, and then the next day I tried it with the matte Fenty primer and matte face powders to see what I thought. So for the matte CC cream, I would say that it gives a very high medium coverage with 2 layers. I was still able to see some of the redness on my cheek peeking through, so I wouldn't say it was full coverage. It does look very natural on the skin. It does not look too dewy, but it also does not look super matte on my skin. But when I set it, it stays matte. It does do a good job of helping to control my oil throughout the day. It's not the most mattifying product ever, but it does do a nice job of controlling my oil. I did notice, however, that I did get some creasing and some lines here that I don't usually get, and I also had a good bit of separation in my nostril at the end of the day, which tends to happen. That is the oiliest area on my face. So I was pretty impressed with this, and I had considered buying this, but then when I tested it out against the Peach Perfect foundation, so the Peach Perfect upon application looks more matte, but it also looks heavier on the skin. It doesn't look as natural as the IT Cosmetics one does, and it does have more of a matte finish initially. So I think that right when I applied the Peach Perfect, I put my matte primer on, my matte powder. It can look a little dry, but in just a couple hours, as my oil starts to come through, it looks really nice and healthy and natural. And that's on the IT Cosmetics side, because it didn't start out at that full matte capacity, is going to start to have some oil coming through and whatnot. So at the end of the day, I did have more oil production on the IT Cosmetics side. I did have more of my line showing. I had more separation of product, and I had a little bit more fading. So I'm actually really happy I did this side-by-side comparison, because I'm going to save myself a good bit of money. The IT Cosmetics Matte CC Cream does cost more than the Too Faced product, and I'm not sure about the amount of product. They look, they both have about the same amount. They have quite a bit, but seeing the way that it looked and wore on my skin, I do prefer the Too Faced. And once I use up the one I have now, we'll see, but I think I might repurchase it but get my proper shades. So then we have my cheek products. I have the Bobbi Brown bronzing powder in the shade medium. I have used this a few more times. The formula is really nice. It is very pigmented. It blends out nicely, and as you guys know, I've just been using this as a contour. It does have more of that pinky red tone, but it still looks very flattering. I recently tried out the Anastacio Bronzer in Rosewood. Now, I was using that one as a bronzer, so maybe if I applied this one all over as a bronzer, I would feel the same way, but the color of that one was very orangey pink and looked wrong on me. It just looked wrong, but I think this one looks quite nice, especially again just used as a contour with some more warm peachy product. So I do like this, but it's not something that I would feel like I would need to purchase in the full size. And then I have the Ciate Blush. I have the shade Summer Lovin', so it is this nice peachy shade. Then you do have that champagne shimmer mixed in there as well. It does give a nice bit of glow to the cheeks, but it doesn't make your skin look too shimmery or shiny. It has a really nice healthy look to the skin. It is more of a baked gelée product. It reminds me of the Cheek Pop formula, except these have a little bit more shimmer, but because it is that gelée product, you do need to use more of a dense brush to pick it up and put it on your skin. This is a really pretty blush. I'm happy to have it, but at the same time, it's not something that I needed. I have similar colors. I do like the formula, but I don't see myself going out and buying any more shades. Happy to have it, but it didn't blow me away. And then we had the Wet n Wild Zodiac Loose Highlighter. It is this really pretty pinky champagne shade, and it does have quite a bit of glitter in it. So this did apply really easily to my cheekbones with a brush, but I did like to pat over it a bit. This is very intense. It does have glitter, which is going to draw attention to the texture on your cheeks. I don't think it's terrible. I think really all metallic highlights, in my experience, do draw attention to my texture. So I don't think that this really is any different in that way, but I was actually very pleasantly surprised with how easy this was to work with, considering it was a loose product. So this is something that I am enjoying. I'm happy to have. This will be a good product for the winter time because of the undertones and the makeup I tend to wear during the winter. I don't see it being holy grail or anything, but I'm happy that Amanda was kind enough to send that to me for me to be able to try it. And then we have the big fail from the video. This is the L'Oreal UnbelievaBROW. I have the shade Blonde, and it comes in a doe foot applicator like this. You're just supposed to apply it to your brows. They also give you a double-ended brush that has an angled brush to apply, and then it has a spoolie. I think the brush is awesome, and it's so good that they include that, and I can see that being just a good brush for people in general to be able to use with other brow products. I've seen some before and afters with this because a lot of people got it from influencer and it looks great on people, but for me it is so sheer on my skin, and it just blends right away with that primer consistency. Maybe I just need to let it set for a little bit longer and it will stay in place, but with how little pigmentation I get, it's very noticeable, the part that I'm drawing onto my skin and then the part that is my brow hairs. With the brow routine that I use now, obviously my brows don't look natural, but they also look even. The ombre brow I don't think looks good on me because, again, I don't have hair there. So this is something that I still do not like. I don't see myself using this ever again, to be honest. So if you guys have tried this, I would love to know your experience. Let me know if I'm just using it wrong, but I don't recommend this to anyone. The next products I talked about were my Inglot Eye Shadows. In this video, I had created an all matte look, and then I did use all of them again the next day with a shimmer on my lid. That way I could see how that works. And I do have to say that I like the shadows way more with a shimmer on my lid. These are all very pigmented, and they do blend out quite nicely. So I was very happy to see that. So I will show you all of the colors that I have. These shades that I have, this is one from the Jennifer Lopez collection in the shade J315 Sienna. Then I have Matte 283, Matte 281, and Matte 301. So I was really happy with these. I think that they are all beautiful. I can see myself reaching for them quite a bit. And the last item would be the Pixi Matte Last Liquid Lipsticks. In the video, I wore this color, Matte Beige. I'm wearing one today, Evening Rose. I'll swatch them for you guys. But I do enjoy the formula of these liquid lipsticks. They are a very pigmented, very liquidy formula, so you do need to be very precise when you're applying these because they could get a bit messy. They also have that teardrop shape applicator, which I love. I think it makes it so easy to line your lips and fill them in with the product. This does take a little while to dry down, and even right now, it's not completely dry. It doesn't look like there's actual product on my finger, but you can see that this finger just has a tint compared to the others, but it is very comfortable. It does not feel like it's sucking the life out of your lips, so I do enjoy that. It's not one of those liquid lipsticks that I'm just noticing all day long, but also that means it's not going to be the most long wearing ever, but I am really impressed with it, and I think the packaging is just super cute. I always think of Tinkerbell when I think of Pixi because of the colors. This shade is called Bare Beauty. Here is Matte Beige. Here is Pastel Petal. Here is Really Rose, and here is the one that I'm wearing today, Evening Rose. So I think these are a really nice variety of colors. We have something more peach, beige, pink, more of a rosy color, and then more of a deeper mauve shade. These are definitely the kind of colors that I reach for, so I'm really happy that I was able to receive this from Pixi. As you can see right now, they are fresh, they're wet, they have a glossy shine to them, so they do take a little longer to set, as I said, but they are very comfortable. I love the color. They wear pretty nicely. Love the applicator. So those are products that I definitely would recommend you guys check out. And I actually don't have any random favorites this month. The radio has just been playing the same 5 songs every day. Thankfully, I still enjoy them, but I don't have any random favorites, but I would love to know what products you guys have been loving this month. I would love to know your thoughts on any of the products that I mentioned here today. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.